The host of Facing South Florida, Jim DeFede, joins us now. And Jim, a historic day on Capitol Hill as former President Donald Trump becomes the first president to face an impeachment trial in the Senate.
And that trial, Jim, starts in 2 weeks, but already two Florida lawmakers, both Republicans, have made up their minds. What are they saying by that?
Well, clearly you heard in that report that both Rick Scott and Marco Rubio have made it clear that they do not think this is the way to go, and they are vehemently opposed to it. Marco Rubio even went so far as to recently say that he's not interested in hearing any of the evidence, that at the first possible moment he can vote to bring this entire thing to an end, he will. And I'm going to play you a little bit of sound, but then I want to break it down and talk about it a little bit more on the other side. So let's hear more of that interview with Marco Rubio from Sunday on Fox News.
First of all, I think the trial is stupid. I think it's counterproductive. We already have a flaming fire in this country, and it's like taking a bunch of gasoline and pouring it on top of the fire. Second, and I look back at the time, for example, Richard Nixon, who had clearly committed crimes and wrongdoing. And in hindsight, I think we would all agree that President Ford's pardon was important for the country to be able to move forward. And history held Richard Nixon quite accountable for what he did as a result.
I really think that Nixon reference is an interesting one and deserves a little bit more context. I think you should, and the viewers should remember that one of the things that Richard Nixon did was he resigned, accept responsibility for what occurred in Watergate. He was also in the second term of his presidency, which meant he was not even eligible to run again. Part of the purpose of this impeachment trial would be, really the goal seems to be to, one, hold some accountability for the president, former president, and two, to bar him from any future election. But from Marco Rubio's standpoint, this is not a healing act and does not advance the country's interests, and so therefore he's ready to call it quits on it right now.
And Jim, Senator Marco Rubio is up for re-election in 2022. Could that be factoring into his comments on this?
I think there may be some of that here. I will note that in the past 2 weeks, Marco Rubio has done 4 interviews on Fox News, 3 on Fox Television and 1 on Fox Radio. That seems to be where he's focusing his attention. You know, there's been a lot of talk that he may face a primary challenger from, among others, Ivanka Trump. He was asked about that in the interview, and he said that he likes Ivanka and would obviously welcome anyone who wants to run, that it would be presumptuous of him to suggest that somebody shouldn't challenge him. But if you listen to Marco Rubio's comments in recent weeks, you know, on the President Biden's immigration plan, the way that he's approaching Joe Biden, the executive orders, referring to them as fiats, not as executive orders, there seems to be a move from Marco Rubio a little bit more to the right, because I think that in the calculation of most political observers is that if Marco Rubio has any real concern, it's not necessarily who his Democratic challenger might be, but whether or not he gets a primary challenger who might be able to take him out in a Republican primary. That's where Ivanka's name has come up. Other names have surfaced. Matt Gaetz up in the Florida Panhandle, he's been mentioned, but he has shot that down. He says he has no interest in running for Marco Rubio's seat or challenging Marco Rubio. He's hinted that the only person in statewide office he might want to go after is the Agriculture Commissioner, Nikki Fried. But for Marco Rubio, this is going to be a real test in 2022. So, you know, we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. But there's definitely a little bit more turn to the right in some of his comments recently.
We'll be watching, Jim. Thank you very much for your insight. And don't forget, you can catch Jim DeFede on Facing South Florida Sunday at 8:30 a.m. right after CBS 4 this morning. And look for much more on the impeachment of former President Trump tonight on the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell. That's at 6:30 after CBS 4 News at 6.